surprise little hack that improves everything.
Or a lot of little leaps here and there, because so much of this is out in the open also. So many smart people are looking at this and trying to figure out little leaps here and there, and it becomes this sort of collective race where a lot of people feel, if I don't take the leap, someone else will. And it is actually very crucial for the other part of it. Why do we want to slow this down? So again, what this open letter is calling for is just pausing all training of systems that are more powerful than GPT-4 for 6 months. Just give a chance for the labs to coordinate a bit on safety, and for society to adapt, give the right incentives to the labs. Because you've interviewed a lot of these people who lead these labs, and just as well as I do that they're good people. Mm-hmm. They're idealistic people. They're doing this first and foremost because they believe that AI has a huge potential to help humanity. Mm-hmm. And but at the same time, they are trapped in this horrible race to the bottom. Have you read Meditations on Moloch by Scott Alexander?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful essay on this poem by Ginsberg, where he interprets it as being about this monster. It's this game theory monster that pits people against each other in this race to the bottom where everybody ultimately loses.
Yes.
The evil thing about this monster is, even though everybody sees it and understands, they still can't get out of the race, right? A good fraction of all the bad things that we humans do are caused by Moloch. And I like Scott Alexander's naming of the monster, so we humans can think of it as a thing. If you look at why do we have overfishing, why do we have more generally the tragedy of the commons, why is it that so Liv Boeree, I don't know if you've had her on your podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's become a friend. Yeah,
great. She made this awesome point recently that beauty filters that a lot of female influencers feel pressure to use are exactly Moloch in action again. Mm-hmm. First, nobody was using them, and people saw them just the way they were. And then some of them started using it and becoming ever more plastic fantastic. And then the other ones that weren't using it started to realize that if they want to just keep their market share, they have to start using it too. And and then you're in a situation where they're all using it. And none of them has any more market share or less than before. So nobody gained anything. Everybody lost. And they have to keep becoming ever more plastic fantastic also, right? And but nobody can go back to the old way because it's just too costly, right? The Moloch is everywhere. And Moloch is not a new arrival on the scene either. We humans have developed a lot of collaboration mechanisms to help us fight back against Moloch through various kinds of constructive collaboration. The Soviet Union and the United States did sign a number of arms control treaties against Moloch, who was trying to stoke them into unnecessarily risky nuclear arms races, etc., etc. And this is exactly what's happening on the AI front. This time, it's a little bit geopolitics, but it's mostly money, where there's just so much commercial pressure. If you take any of these leaders of the top tech companies, if they just say, this is too risky, I want to pause for 6 months, they're going to get a lot of pressure from shareholders and others. We're like, well, if you pause, but those guys don't pause, we don't want to get our lunch eaten.
Yeah.
And shareholders even have the power to replace the executives in the worst case, right? So we did this open letter because we want to help these idealistic tech executives to do what their heart tells them by providing enough public pressure on the whole sector to just pause, so that they can all pause in a coordinated fashion. And I think without the public pressure, none of them can do it alone, push back against their shareholders, no matter how good-hearted they are. Because Moloch is a really powerful foe.